Spirituality is defined in the eye of the beholder. A search on the internet, a private conversation, a visit to your local church or synagogue, Church of Scientology would yield a plethora of definitions of what spirituality is to many religious practitioners of the world. What this researcher has come to realize is that spirituality cannot be defined as a religion. Unfortunately, many people use religion to define spirituality as such, but it is not merely defined by one's religious practice or beliefs. According to Kaplan, in 2013, spirituality should be understood not only as a coping strategy, but also as an upward spiral pathway to and from self-transcendent positive emotions. This researcher defines spirituality as a state of elevation over the mind, body, and soul, a place of an outer body peace that denotes a oneness with all elements within the being and external stimuli. However, a review of the literature finds a host of definitions of what spirituality means, and moreover, how senses or emergent properties of human beings impact in spirituality. This researcher argues to have a predilection of positive valence increases your encounter to transcend. Everyone can encounter within an outer body stimuli of oneness by staying on the scale of positive valence. These positive emotions guide you to change your outlook as well as outcomes toward the effects that impact your whole being. In which I would also argue that your whole being is your center that allows you to freely embrace life with peace. Having positive emotions seems simple enough for transcendence, but many never reach this level of spirituality due to the lack of bringing awareness to the body and mind of positive valence. Others would argue it takes religion and other traditional practices to even consider changing from a negative valence to a positive valence. This researcher would argue that even beginning from a neutral and increasing to a positive valence, you will inherently have the encounter with transcendence you seek. According to Saragulu, in a study where they tested positive emotion effects on religiousness and spirituality, in which the researchers surveyed a total of 178 participants, concluded that positive emotions have a clear correspondence for spirituality. Furthermore, a cross-sectional study was conducted in Europe and the U.S. with 548 participants, using the spiritual transcendence scale from Piedmont, measuring their feelings of oneness and unity of life, confirming the significant role positive emotions have on spirituality. In both studies, researchers found empirical evidence that suggests that positive emotions have a significant effect on the participant's sense of spirituality. This researcher has been faced with challenges and obstacles that decrease valence toward negative emotions. Because of the experience, this researcher is learning to use the space within to think on a more positive emotion to help change the outlook and outcome of circumstances while substantially increasing the experience transcendence into spirituality. Religious practice would differ from the argument that it takes more than only having positive emotions to impact your spirituality. They are more inclined to say it takes religious attendance and practices to obtain and maintain positive emotions, as well as encounter spirituality. Taking time to practice or to participate in a spiritual setting would be led to believe is the first step to encounter changes within your body, and as you progress to another level in the order of service, you begin to feel the effects of the impact, which concludes in a transcending experience. According to the Black Negro Journal of 2010, It would state that more specifically, the Black church is an appropriate institution with holistic interventions to help improve some of the said conditions many African American students regularly confront in their matriculation through education system. The researcher would not agree that church attendance leads to positive emotions that impact spirituality, but would argue that no space in particular is necessary to indulge to have a positive emotion that allows for a transcendent experience. Positive emotions are not housed within a place, but rather within self. The stimuli of these most positive emotions lie within the limbic system. Emmons, in 2005, writes in a psychological handbook that the hippocampus greatly influence the amygdala, such that they complement and interact in the generation of attention, emotion, and certain types of imagery. He goes on to explain that activation of the right hippocampus likely stimulates the right lateral amygdala as well. All that is necessary to increase your encounter with spirituality is your ability to activate and stimulate your limbic system. With the evidence presented concerning positive emotions and the effects and impact on self-spirituality, as well as the effects from the limbic system, aids our understanding on how and why we respond to positive emotions in a way that increases our encounter to transcend, rather than attending and indulging in a religious practice to change emotional state of being. The finding of this researcher would conclude that emotions have a positive impact on spirituality.